Captain, what's that?
Well. I wonder if it's physical.
It's not there, Captain.
Captain!
Escape pod girl.
Defries!
Grab her.
I'm here.
Get in.
Looks like we made it. What about the others?
Not a chance. The ship was crashing. We're lucky to be alive.
Does anyone have any idea what that thing was?
Telepathic. Not human. Possibly a squid. You're not going to believe it, but that thing was an illusion, induced across the entire ship, and from a distance, plus a complex pattern of energy fields. That's what ripped the ship apart.
Telepathy and force fields. Ace, you've been viding too much science fiction.
Not so far-fetched. I've done a few weather station postings. Used to be a troublemaker, see? Weather control. That's some kind of force field technology, I guess. And who made every single one of those intelligent systems? Spinwood Corporation. That's who.
Is that supposed to make me feel better? I failed, damn it. The mission's over.
You're alive, and we're not finished yet. These things are programmed to put down on the nearest planet.
But that would be...
Arcadia.
Ugh. Not again. Now, where are we? Very metallic for a horse-drawn wagon. It's all right, Elaine. I just want to take a look at the thing we're in. Not the workmanship of a Beaufort stonemason or a metalsmith, I'd say. Far too advanced. In fact, it says here that this was made in the Phobos factory of the HKI Industries Corporation. And see the sign? That's the logo for the Spinwood Corporation. It's a strange feeling to say in an empty tin box, but I almost feel at home.
Home?
You're talking. I thought perhaps... But no, you're a brave girl, aren't you, Elaine? I've been travelling with... No, I can't really explain that. But I didn't know where or when I was. And now I've got some idea. Spinwood and HKR were big corporations where and when I come from. So give or take a couple centuries and a few hundred light years, I'm home.
That's good, Benny. But what's going to happen? We're going to Landfall. We could jump out.
It's too late for that, I'm afraid. We're on our way. Wherever our way ends up being. This is a transmat. Keep still and concentrate on keeping your molecules together.
Will that help?
Well, no. But it'll help keep your mind off the nausea and dizziness.
Someone's bringing us down gently. Maybe we'll have a soft landing after all.
Let's get out before this thing blows. We've got an emergency exit where we used to have a roof. Ace, find the emergency rations in the patch-up kit.
Another likely stroke of luck. We're stuck in the only crevice along this whole mountainside. Another metre either way, and we'd have carried on rolling all the way down.
Don't worry. If the wind keeps rising, the pod'll be blown down there. And don't stand so close to the edge.
I got a rope. We can rappel down.
Well done, DK. I thought you were only interested in certain death scenarios and fighting Daleks.
That's right, aliens. I'm setting on a red pod that's gonna blow up if it doesn't blow away first. It's just way too safe for me. Let's get out of here and into something really dangerous.
Down, everyone! Those things dangerous enough for you.
They're armed. Excellent.
My guess is not friendly. Get down that rope, all of you. I'll cover.
Rats scurrying down the anchor chain of a beached ship.
What?
We have found them, pretty one. They're on the doomed planet below.
Are you going to attack them now?
Soon. We must take care not to harm the one that Poole wants. The one in the middle. The girl. Fit, strong, capable, clever. Look at her. She's enjoying the danger. I can feel her excitement. The others have it too. The thin one and the other woman are experiencing a desire, a sensual thrill. And the big man is full of wild rage. But this woman has some of both of these feelings, as well as more fear than the others. And even the fear excites her. And above all of these emotions, there is a hunger to know the result of the conflict. It's as if she is conducting an experiment with herself as one of the ingredients. She needs to know what's going to happen next. Fascinating.
They're killing the counselors.
They are expendable. One is enough to lead them to Landfall.
Ugh, I hate a transmat. 4 walls do not a prison make, isn't that what they say? Elaine? Elaine?
I'm in here. Benny, I'm scared, Benny. Please come, please.
Good. Remain calm. I'm coming, all right? Just a few minutes.
What do you require?
What I require, Rasputin, is that you let me out of here and let me see Elaine.
You may have provisions. Food and water are available. Medicines are available.
If I'm allowed to have food, why can't I have it in the same cell as Elaine?
You are the older female prisoner. You are to be kept alive. Provisions are available. Medicines are available. The other prisoner is of no importance.
Oh, isn't she? Well, if I thought you were even remotely human, Dogface, I'd wring your neck. But you're obviously something else, so let me try this instead. What would happen if I took no food, no water, and no medicine?
You would die. You are to be kept alive.
Very good. Glad to see you're keeping up. Now hear this. I will take provisions. Only if you take me to Elaine and provide both of us with the things I ask for.
You will survive long enough without food and water.
Then I'll hang myself in the bars right under this light. I'll bash my head against the walls until I break my skull. I'll cut open my arteries. Do you hear me?
You may join the other prisoner.
Benny!
What do you require?
Finally, a little civility. I'll take coffee, black and strong, bread lightly toasted and buttered, a selection of local cheeses, honey, fruit, and a few centiliters of good whiskey. Now, the good whiskey, mind, you've got to make sure it's properly aged.
Bread and water are available.
Well. I think we must have arrived at Landfall.
I could almost believe in magic. Or that Landfall was built by giants. The symmetry of the curtain wall, the width of the eternal roadways, the vast stone archways, and the towers! So slender and graceful, dressed with beaten silver, such wealth, such magnificence, such sheer size.
How interesting. I take it that you see that architectural dog's dinner down there as a skillfully planned structure, some sort of enormous palace.
The ruler of even the meanest principality has a palace, and everyone has a half-finished tower, or a carelessly added gatehouse in a different style. There is perfection. Landfall is the citadel.
I have to say, I see it rather differently. Shall we make a move towards it, by the way? These androids don't feel the cold, but we'd rather be more comfortable off this windswept mountaintop, I'm sure.
Differently?
There are at least 3 separate periods of building, and the oldest looking, or the monument of masonry made of weathered stone, is the most recent.
But the entire citadel is made of stone.
But look again. The central structure, the 6 hexagonal towers. It's been built over, of course, but that is, unless I'm very much mistaken, the original survey camp. It would have been domed at first. Nearly everything else follows the ground plan of the later and much larger colony base station. Runways and hard standing, hangars, warehousing. The thin towers aren't covered with silver, but they're made of metal. They were rockets once, presumably for emergency launching of satellites, perhaps even for defense. The stone walls are the last... Francis, are you listening?
I understand only a little of what you say. Landfall has always been. The councillors have always provided. This is their place. their ancient home.
Use your eyes, Francis. Use your brain. The whole complex is only a few hundred years old. Your forefathers landed here only a few generations ago. I know the councillors restrict your access to books, but there must be legends, stories handed down through the years. Didn't you hear tales of the first settlers from your father? From your grandfather, even?
My father? I can hardly remember what he looked like. Grandfather? What is a grandfather? My father wasn't grand.
Ah, of course. I'd forgotten the genetic manipulation. They've tampered with life expectancy, long life and literacy, the first and second means by which knowledge is transmitted, and your martyrs have robbed these people of both. You've created a society with no history, no culture. You can impose any laws and traditions you care to invent. No wonder apprentice scribes are vetted and brainwashed, but still...
But what, Doctor?
I still don't know what it's all for, that's what. What's the point of it all? I hate not knowing.
Another storm?
Ha! You remember I mentioned I was expecting a friend? I rather think she's arrived.
Looks like the DK isn't easy to kill.
They've got a harvest speeder.
Then go for it.
What do you reckon these things are?
Android. There's not enough blood for a human. That's a relief.
You'd rather be up against androids?
I'd rather not kill colonists.
That goes for me.
You have a point. Let's get out of this weather.
You ever seen androids like that before?
No, I never mixed much with them. Speciality's ripping them open.
They're all pretty much alike, even from different manufacturers. That one's a real freak. You did well, Dalek Killer. You requisitioned us some transport. Now we'd better put some distance between us and here. I guess you've worked out how to fly this thing? So which way?
This way. Up there's a colony base camp. The original base. Dressed up to look like a castle.
This could still be the spin ward base on the planet. Maybe we've found what we're looking for.
Good. Let's take it to pieces.
I give the orders. We're tired, hungry, in need of some plastic skin here and there. If we were fit, a frontal assault would be suicide. As things are, I'd feel happier trying to eat that chainsword. We'll go and find a place to rest a while.
No.
What? Trooper, if you won't obey a straight order, what is it?
Down the road. That.
What the hell is that?
It's the TARDIS. It belongs to a friend of mine. We arranged to meet here. He must be inside that colony camp. He's probably in trouble. He usually is. He'll be expecting me to ride in with the cavalry, and all I've got is you two.
Cut the clever crap, Trooper. Who is this guy? What is that blue box, and why the hell should we care?
He's called the Doctor. He looks human, but he's not. The TARDIS as well, he travels in it. And we need to find him because he'll be right in the middle of whatever's going on. He always is. And the TARDIS is our best hope of getting out of here.
Sounds like a loser. But the Doctor, I think... Hell. Anyway, that Cuban coop's not big enough for a one-man transmat.
It's deceptively spacious.
15 minutes. Dak, you see to the speeder. Engines, controls, fuel. It's the only transport we've got, and I don't want a breakdown. Ace, weapons check. Power levels, all three of us, plus the cannon on the speeder. And see if you can rig up something forward firing. I'll come around with the skin and some shots. Protein and zip should do it.
And then?
Then we go in. On hover speeder against a fortification full of androids and heavy weapons.
My kind of fight.
Doctor!
Oh, Benny!
Is it... Elaine?
Francis? Oh, Francis!
Been having an interesting time, have we?
Oh, nothing much. 2 near-death experiences, 1 rescue of a fellow prisoner, several moments of heart-stopping tension. No, nothing much really at all. You?
Oh, much the same. Intriguing planet, this.
What? Oh, yes, very. But you must have escaped from the TARDIS.
Escaped? Ha! Professor Summerfield, you should never underestimate the guile of a Time Lord. I suppose you thought I hadn't noticed the occasional vagaries in the system?
Occasional vagaries? Doctor, both you and the TARDIS have been going gaga for months. Ever since I've been on board. I began to think it had something to do with me. Either that or gaga is just the normal way of going about things.
I had to keep you in the dark. All part of the plan. And it worked. The TARDIS is fully recovered. As good as new. Well, as good as Let's go to Sun Park.
So what you're saying is all we have to do is get out of here and get back to the TARDIS?
Unnecessary. They're bringing her here. Very close now. I don't understand, though, why they're keeping us in here. The usual routine is that I get frog-marched into the presence of the topmost Panjandrum so that he can have a good gloat. I can't find out what's going on while I'm locked in the basement.
He might be a she, of course.
He might turn out to be a set of subatomic particles bouncing around in a box in unintelligent waveforms. He might be anything. That's the trouble. I just don't know.
I didn't...
Hush. Can't you hear it?
Was that an old-fashioned rocket engine?
2 jets with a rocket booster. A short hop shuttle, probably.
It's taking off, isn't it?
Oh, yes. It's certainly taking off. With a very heavy cargo, I'd say. And we're not on it.
What's the matter?
We're in the wrong place, that's what's the matter. We are here. The Panjandrum is elsewhere. Now, would you like to start digging the tunnel? Or shall I?
They've launched the shuttle!
What? Bang goes Plan A. It was a nice, easy target. There it goes, and the TARDIS inside it.
Escape trajectory.
Of course. They're taking your friend's box to a space station. I suppose, Trooper Ace, that your advice would be to follow it?
Can't think of anything better. But we can't fly this old banger into a space station.
No problem. We go in there and find us another shuttle.
They'll try to stop us. The original plan was just to get in there, and that was suicide. Now we have to get in, steal a shuttle, fly it out, then take it off planet. If I say the words giant squid, does that remind you what could be waiting for us out there?
What's the alternative?
No alternative.
And I want to stick close to the TARDIS. You two, remember to keep your heads down. This cannon has a 360-degree field now, and Bell, the front thruster's blocked. That lash-up pedal near your right foot releases it. We'll fly nose down, but we can take a rough ride, and it might just save you a laser shave when I start shooting. When you push the pedal, the thruster will blow straight out the front of the skirt. Waste of fuel. But it'll fry anything close in front. Best I could do.
Quit talking. I just want to kill something.
You know, Doctor, I've been thinking about this planet. Did you know that everyone dies young? In their 30s, mainly. Elaine said that her sister was murdered by the councillors, the androids, and according to Francis, the councillors officiate at every death and look after the bodies. Elaine keeps saying that they cut a hole in her sister. I'm going to try and get her to tell me more, but it all sounds dreadfully nasty. What is it all for, Doctor? Doctor, are you listening?
Oh, damn and blast! I still can't get through. Sorry, Benny. I've been trying to communicate with whatever it is that's up there. All I can detect is great size and power. There's a lot of data processing going on. A sense of yearning. But what is it? What does it want?
Doctor, while I can appreciate your academic enjoyment at finding an intellectual equal, I really think you might do better to devote at least some of your attention to the lesser mortals who have been caught up in...
At last!
How?
We're off to see the wizard on a magical mystery tour. Come along.
It's such fun to feel her passion as she destroys them. But we must let them through. We must let them steal the shuttle we've prepared for them. All the pieces are falling into place.
So, you can feel her feelings too. Can you?
Not as keenly as I feel yours. But Poole is aware of everything in the net. All thoughts and concepts. At least, except for the stranger and his blue box. And so, through the link, I receive an impression of Ace's thoughts, if Poole channels them to me.
What exactly is Poole?
Poole, my little baby, is the collective brains of the corporation. At first, centuries ago, they were a research team. The corporation's most senior scientists. They conducted an experiment using semi-organic material to link their minds. It must have looked like something from an old-fashioned horror vid. All those thick cables and helmets with lights and flickering displays. And it worked! They were able to merge their thoughts. 6 very intelligent and very powerful minds became one, and the whole was greater than the sum of its parts.
I can see that it would help to run the corporation more efficiently, although I'm sure there are artificial intelligences that would be as powerful. But some of the things I've seen are, well, that doesn't explain them.
Of course not. That was just the beginning. They added to themselves over the years. They abandoned their bodies and became Poole. They grew continuously for centuries. And now they have mental powers that allow them to surpass physical laws.
So, where is it?
Not it, they. They are here. They are all around us. Behold the physical reality. You have already been allowed to enter an abstract model of Poole. Now you see them as they are. They reach almost to the ceiling. They are at maximum capacity, optimum power.
Hello, Greta. Don't be alarmed. We are Poole. We know you well, and we are grateful to you. Now that you have seen us, you can imagine that we enjoy little in the way of sensory awareness. We exist in pure thought. Lacuna's pleasure in you provides great pleasure for us. When we calculated that we lacked aesthetic sensibility, we created the link. We have come to depend on Lacuna even more than we did her predecessor, who was unfortunately unable to join us.
But what are you?
We are the collective brains of the corporation. We were only 6 at first, but many hundreds of individuals have joined us since. All of the corporation's ablest intellects. And of course we harness the cranial material of the descendants of the colonists. We erase the memories, disrupt and reconnect the synapses, and use the material for routine calculations. You have seen some of the things we can do with our power.
Benny!
Huh? What?
Oh, do try and snap out of it, Professor Summerfield. I'd like to think that at least one of my travelling companions had a functioning intelligence.
I'll have you know I have enough functioning intelligence for the both of us. To experience one transmat journey may be regarded as a misfortune. To experience 2 within the same day is no less than a catastrophe. Ugh! My head.
Where are we?
We're on a space station, an artificial world, in the sky above your planet.
Are you sure, Doctor?
You mean, like the moon? It's as if we're on the moon.
Very good. In fact, what does the Arcadian moon look like?
It's just the moon. Shiny, sparkling, jagged at the edges like a badly dented silver coin.
That's probably where we are then. We're in the moon.
Right then. Point of order. Mr. Chairman, that's all very well and good. But tell me, why isn't there anyone here to meet us and take us into custody again, That strikes me as just a little bit suspicious.
I imagine, Professor Summerfield, that it's because we are under surveillance, and in any case, we can only go in one direction.
Who doesn't love a good rat trap? So, this way then? All these passages seem to lead to the same place. Then again, a good archaeologist is always receptive to alternative interpretations.
I have a nasty feeling that getting anywhere might take some time.
Very clever. Poole can read your coding, of course, but you are being clever. Come quickly to me. Is the blue box unloaded? Has the transmat party arrived? We are going to have some fun when Ace joins us. I can see that. Poole will be very entertained. Concentrate on finding the box.
I haven't found it yet, but I'll keep looking.
Good girl.
Good God, these corridors are distasteful. Bosch's Garden of Delights meets Picasso's Guernica in a pointillism blood splatter style. But the workmanship is incredible. The detail, materials, pictures that fill the corridor packed with images too small to see with the naked eye. The painting incorporates tiny imperfections in the building's materials. It hardly seems possible.
It isn't. Humanly.
Do you know where we're going?
It would help if the corridors were straighter.
You know, there's really something about this that reminds me of... No, it must be. I'm sure this is a representation of the Perseus myth. See, this is Medusa, and over there could be Andromeda, and the monster from the sea. He's very nasty. Mind you, I can't say I fancy this Perseus much either. Doctor?
Oh, I'm afraid we're completely lost.
I don't suppose there's any chance we could have another bite of that cheese. Is there, Benny? I'm worried about Lane. She's almost exhausted.
No, I'm not. I want to see what's round the next corner.
There's my brave girl, Elaine. You know, you might make an archaeologist yet.
Come along, Francis.
Doctor, isn't that your hat?
Damn. I really thought I'd seen the last of that particular fashion accessory.
We're going round in circles.
Mutually accessible centers in 3 dimensions with no dead ends. The worst kind of maze. We might as well have a rest. Here's as good as anywhere else.
We find a way out?
Oh yes, but it might take a few years. How much cheese did you manage to pocket as we left the cell, Benny?
Well, to put it in scientific terms, I'd say there's enough for another chunk each.
Ah, then I can foresee some difficulty.
I suppose this is what they call the fog of war. Okay to go?
Yes. Runway lights off. Switch to voice reactive, you antiquated heap of shit, and get those runway lights off!
You wouldn't believe the age of some of the crates I've driven.
Where's Dak?
He isn't here.
Trooper! Dak's a dead man, leave him. Get back!
What the hell are you doing? Defries is taking off in the rocket, come on!
What?
We're leaving! You're gonna get yourself killed. Can you hear me?
Give us a kiss, girlie.
Come on! Belle! Defries! Cut the engines and get us aboard!
Ace?
Belle, I've got him! He needs help!
So do you. Psychotherapy. He's more dead than alive. He'll slow us down.
I can't let him die!
He's already on borrowed time. And he isn't even... Never mind. See what you can find. He's your boyfriend. I'm getting us off this planet as fast as I can.
If I didn't need you, Defries.
Junk it, Trooper. I've got a job to do. You're under orders to help me do it. Don't forget that. I've lost the Reichsstrick, I've lost Selasu's troops, and I can't afford to fail now. I'm not going to. Those responsible will pay.
Whatever you say.
Don't you ever say yes, ma'am, when you acknowledge an order?
No, ma'am. Seems like I never do.
In the Transmat booth, they brought me and Lane from Beaufort to Landfall. I saw the logo for the Spinward Corporation.
Of course. Arcadia was a Spinward colony planet for centuries. But this is all wrong. I suppose I created the Spinward Corporation in a way. Helped it along, anyway, back then. I put a spanner in the works of one of the companies that later merged to form Spinward. A very large spanner. A job well done, if I do say so myself. Well, perhaps I nudged things just a little too far. It's so hard to be sure. Their research was very advanced for its time. I successfully blocked one of the main avenues they were exploring, but perhaps that only encouraged them to move faster elsewhere.
So, what exactly do you think we're up against now?
I really don't know. I don't even know if I'm against it. I can sense something like a vast artificial intelligence. It's almost like a primitive version of parts of a TARDIS. And that's quite impossible, you see. Mankind doesn't have that level of knowledge. Not in the 25th century. Not for centuries to come.
I'm sorry. Did you say we're in the 25th century? Doctor, that's home! Why didn't you tell me?
Do you know, Benny? It had completely slipped my mind, yes.
Yeah, your brain seems to be particularly slippery.
Yes, this must be almost exactly your time. But not your place, of course. but a good 400 light years from your usual standing grounds. Not that you could meet yourself anyway. I understand about 3 years have elapsed since you left.
These materials, the murals, they don't look... I mean, there was, or I should say is, I suppose, nothing like this in the 25th century. Not of human origin. Not that I've seen. So what, is it alien?
I don't think so, but you're right. It shouldn't be here. Whatever created it is an aberration. A very interesting aberration.
If you diverted the route through time that the Spinwood Corporation would have taken, surely the TARDIS would have known about it. I mean, the TARDIS does predict the future, doesn't it?
Predict isn't the right word. It's too definite. It's always a matter of assessing probabilities. Ticklish work. Requires vast talent, of course, and a frightening amount of computing power, as well as a sort of knack. The universe isn't a predictable place. That's the trouble. But perhaps it's just as well.
Is it?
Oh, of course, Benny. You wouldn't want to start watching one of those awful old adventure films you like so much if you knew exactly what was going to happen, would you? Much more fun if the ending's a surprise. But the universe is like that too. Have you heard of a type of problem known as NP-complete?
Are you changing the subject because you don't want to talk about it?
Absolutely not.
I see. Why did you turn left at the last corridor?
Aha!
Yes, of course I've heard of NP-complete problems, but I can't quite remember.
What's the quickest way to solve a puzzle?
Give it to a computer.
Unless
it's an NP-complete.
Precisely. An NP-complete puzzle is one in which the routes to the solution are so numerous that there is no single correct answer. Indeed, the number of possible routes increases exponentially as one explores them. Ah, there we are.
But that's...
Before you ask, Benny, I must confess that I have no idea what the TARDIS is doing here. Someone must have brought it here for a purpose, but I must admit, it looks abandoned. Perhaps they've lost it.
Doctor, would you mind telling me what you're doing for once in your slippery little life? Are you going to leave us here? Because if you're thinking of nipping back a century or two and uncreating this interesting aberration of yours, I think I'd rather be somewhere very far away at the moment of uncreation if it's all the same to you.
You haven't been paying attention, Benny. I can't rewrite the script, remember? One moment. There, all done.
Can't we at least use the TARDIS to get out of this maze?
No need. We have found another way out.
We have.
Behind you!
These are the humans and the humanoid paradox. They have been attracted to the box paradox. We will load them all on the transporter, as well as the box. If the paradox or the older female struggles, kill the others.